series face-off.
God.
The following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com.
Alrighty, and welcome to welcome to the 14th episode of the Big Yak Podcast. It is I, Mike Pareto, alongside me is Nico Salameni, and we have Damian Jolly as our guest today, fellow Dolphins fan. So we had to have him on because of the game that we endured last Sunday. Nico and Mr. Moranto had the pleasure of being down there in Miami to watch this game. How was it down there for the experience?
So, where should I even begin?
Can I be the negative one?
Please come on in.
I hate the stadium.
You didn't like it?
I don't like
Hard
it.
Rock Stadium?
I don't think it's a great stadium.
Okay, it's big. It's
very
very big.
and it's not. I don't know. I just didn't like this. And for being such a new stadium. Or whatever. It just
didn't seem like
it was great. I've been in 5 or 6 other nicer stadiums. And getting out of the stadium was ridiculous.
So
the game's over. Just open up the gates. We want to leave. We don't. Why is there all these choke points? And it took me an hour to get back to the car. And it was and the fact that I don't know. I'm sure you're going to talk about I'll be the again. What? No misters, no fans for the visiting team. Come on,
yes.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
But the Fort Lauderdale area where I stayed was amazing. I've never felt like I've seen so many Bills fans anywhere unless I was in. I mean, what was it? 50%.
Oh my goodness, it was
Bills fans.
An insane number of Bills fans there. I mean, our whole section was just Bills fans.
Yeah.
There was
Actually,
one row of Dolphins fans.
The home side was all teal, and then on the other side was all blue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it felt
Even
like.
split.
Yeah.
Buffalo takeover every time, man.
We like I said, I think our section had one row of 4 or 5 Dolphins fans, and I mean they're jeering and throwing
of course.
the whole time. But I mean they're surrounded in a sea of blue, which was surreal for me to see in a away game, and that was my first away game, and that's obviously not what you should expect every time you go to an away game, but. Seeing that, Bills Mafia just travels really well.
Yeah, and it's funny because it feels like the Bills always seem to outnumber the Dolphins in their home stadium for some reason. I don't know if it's maybe the struggles or...
It's all the Buffalo migrants flying down the Florida.
They do that with every stadium.
Yeah, it's insane.
Tennessee, dude. Oh, Tennessee, it's crazy.
I remember they talked about that last season.
I think specifically with Miami, a lot of people, because they always have that Miami game the first few weeks of the season, a lot of people plan their Florida yearly trip around when the Bills play.
Yeah, so you go down for 4 or 5 days,
Exactly.
get the weather, and then you get the game at the end.
Exactly.
It's hard to beat something
I
like that.
talked to one guy at the hotel, and he's got season tickets, and he always sells the Miami game, or the Buffalo game, because he's going to make a ton of money.
Oh,
so
100%.
They were going, so he says he never goes to the Miami Buffalo game, not because he wants to be there, but I can just make too much money. Same reason in Buffalo, the Sabres, everybody sells their Toronto tickets because they know they can make a ton of money every time the Leafs come to town. That's why you go to a Leafs game, it's oh my God, it's all Leafs fans.
Right.
It's just because and if you're a season ticket holder and you want to make back some of your money, it makes a lot of sense.
Right, I'll sit and watch this game if I'm making a big chunk of my season ticket money back.
Right, you could sit at home and be comfortable and then just, make some money back on it, profit.
Right.
But yeah, going back to the stadium and just non-game stuff, those fans are brutal. I didn't expect Miami fans to be that brutal. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? After many years of the Bills beating down on the Dolphins, coming in and just whooping and whooping and whooping. I mean, the Bills won 7 in a row against Miami. They have a little bit of a right to be, have that chip on their shoulder and be a little cocky. I mean, going back to the infrastructure on the stadium, me and Molly had to walk about a mile just to get to the Uber pickup spot. And it's not even through actual stadium. We passed a Walmart, we passed an Aldi.
Oh my God.
And we were just out there,
Just in the middle of nowhere.
in the middle of Miami Gardens, which our Uber driver on the way to the stadium called it Murder Gardens.
Oh God.
And we were great, yeah, we're walking a mile away from the stadium just to get picked up by our Uber. And every single Dolphins fans were screaming at us. Like, it was a mile-long walk of shame. It was.
I don't know what it is with drivers, man. Me and Mike had that situation in Philly. Our cab driver told us we were in the middle of
we're in the worst spot.
Drivers need to stop giving bad reviews on these neighborhoods.
Yeah. Let's talk about that game, man. That game was. I don't know. I have no words for that game. It was a great game.
It was a really good game to watch.
But I don't know, man. It's just the Bills. There's a lot of things you could talk about. You could say, oh, the Bills were half their team was injured. Oh, like the Miami Stadium is built like horribly to side with Miami. There's a lot of Bills fans out there who are overreacting
and horribly mistaken.
And just like they're so like I get, being a Bills fan, you get salty. You do get salty.
It's fair.
But to call
it comes with the territory.
But to call OSHA about the stadium to go on Facebook, do all these rants and just like nitpick every single like thing is just oh my god.
Just don't give them any heat.
When they come to Buffalo.
Right. If they can't give us shade, then when they get here in December whenever they play,
take away their heaters.
Just break all those heated seats that they get to sit on. Make it fair.
Simply.
But Damien, being from a Dolphins perspective, give us your side of the game. Like, what did you think of the game?
So, I mean, it's always tough going into a Buffalo game. Like I said, for years now, we have been pummeled by Josh Allen and the Bills pretty much every time we play them. So having them come into Buffalo, I'm excited. We're coming off a big win against the Ravens, who are still considered a contender. Mm-hmm. And, we come in and they score immediately. I mean, a big play to Diggs off the start, 28 yards. It's
my goodness, that first drive. I mean, the Bills look unstoppable on their first drives.
Oh, I mean, it put fear in my heart for sure that this was going to be another repeat of what happens every time they come down. And I was very happy with the way we stopped on the red zone defenses, forcing Josh to fumble. We got pressure on Josh Allen, which never happens. The guy could stand back there and run around us all day. So it was big changes, stuff that needed to happen on defense. And, I think the biggest play of the game for the Dolphins' standpoint is that 3rd and 22. Mm-hmm. Seeing Teddy Bridgewater coming for Tua after the injury fiasco, whatever's going on with that looked like the end of the road. I did not want to see Teddy Bridgewater play football at all.
Yeah.
So seeing Tua come out in the second half and, in that fourth quarter where he makes that play to Waddle down the field, I mean, that changes the game.
That was a dagger in our section, by the way. Like sitting around, I mean, our entire section went silent.
Yeah, I mean, when he threw the ball deep, I mean, it's scary because you just never know what's going to happen. You got the questions about Tua and his ability to throw deep or anything like that. So you just never know. And he made the play, and we score after that.
It was perfectly executed. I could see it like loud and clear from my seat. It was a cover 2 shot right down the middle. Anytime you got a cover 2, shoot it right up the middle. Madden taught me that one.
No, right.
And Waddle was in the perfect spot. Tua placed it perfectly, and people aren't kidding when they say Tua has an accurate ball.
He does.
Yeah, he throws a very catchable ball, and I think that's really what helps our offense out. Tyreek Hill and Waddle are going to do a lot when they get the ball in their hands. These guys are not big jump ball receivers by any means, but if they get the ball, they're going to score. They're going to do something with it.
Plus, on that play, CBS crew broke it down pretty good. Like, Tyreek Hill on that play ran. It was kind of like a deep curl or something, like kind of like a deep in.
Yeah, to kind of clear the safety out.
Yeah, so what happened was the safety, those are 2 young safeties, Hamlin and Johnson.
DeMar Hamlin, Jaquan Johnson.
So they baited that.
Sitting ducks.
Yeah, they baited that a little bit, and then, you just see Jalen Waddle come on with that post, and it's just, you throw the perfect ball like he did is
and,
over.
The second I saw it leave to his hands, I'm like, yep, Jalen Waddle's going to catch this ball. I saw it as it happened. I saw it in slow motion. I'm like, yep, this is where it gets rough.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know, man. I will say this though, it's the Bills. You put up 400 plus yards of offense, and you can only suffice 19 points. It's just. You can't really blame.
It comes down to an execution thing. I mean, it's not the defense. People are like, "Oh, our defense was killed." Our secondary, our whole defense only put up 21 points.
Right.
This offense. I was just saying this pre-show. I think they were 3 or 4 plays away from this score being 41-21.
No, for sure.
It was a dropped touchdown in the end zone.
The strip sack,
and the drop touchdown, and then Gabe Davis's.
It was the pass breakup, or a lot of people thought it could have been a touchdown had they thrown a challenge flag.
Mm-hmm. It was a good play by the DB.
Yeah,
and then Josh Allen's duck into into the end zone.
The
to
duck,
Isaiah
man,
McKenzie.
and we know he's capable of not doing that. It's like,
Yeah,
And
you
you
don't
know-
see that often.
You don't see that often.
It's okay that Josh Allen misfired. Like, you can't blame the whole game on Josh Allen. I mean, he did what he could.
Right.
90-something degree heat. I think the field temp was like 100 degrees.
Yeah.
But
that's
guys are
football,
going in
man.
and out. Exactly.
That's
exactly.
football.
So it is what it is. Like,
And that kind of plays really well into kind of like the how you were saying the excuse thing and their complaint thing for the Bills fans. The heat thing, I get, that it's made for the Dolphins to have the shade and the opposing team to suffer in the heat.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an issue the last 3 years when
Yeah.
Josh Allen was coming in and putting 35 on us.
yeah, that's the
Putting
point of
42
the,
on us,
mhm.
Right.
You guys played the right game plan. You kept our offense off the field. We only
Mm-hmm.
ran 35 offensive plays. Josh Allen and Co. ran 92.
63 pass attempts.
Yeah.
Franchise records in plays and pass
63
attempts.
attempted passes. Or no, 63 completed passes. Was it
No,
60?
it's attempted passes.
63
He
attempted
completed
passes.
like 40 of them.
73
He completed-
dropbacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Insane.
and not many quarterbacks are going to be able to do what Josh Allen did with that. I mean, that's asking a lot of any quarterback. Even Josh Allen, is freakish as he is. So I mean,
Yeah, he's on that MVP tour. I don't think anything changes after this week. He's
No,
still on track to become MVP contender.
So
coming
many,
next
so
season.
many fans are like discouraged from the game, and they think like, "Oh my God!" Like like you know how a lot of Bills fans get. Season's over.
chalk it
type.
after a loss.
Yeah, so it's when we lost. That last drive where McKenzie, he couldn't get out of bounds, or he tried cutting up, whatever you want to call it. And we lost. We couldn't get the spike off. I was sitting there. I'm like, we lost. I'm not gonna sit
it
there.
is
I'm not
what
gonna
it
go
is,
throw
yeah.
a tantrum. But I was like, we lost.
I'm
Miami.
not gonna lie, I smacked my head on the ground. I did,
Hey,
but you know
that's
what? You
understandable.
pick your head up and you walk.
Well, I
out.
mean, you were there. You were there. I mean,
You pick your head up and you walk out and you keep moving. We're on to Baltimore.
yeah, and that's what you have to do. And a lot of fans are just overreacting so bad.
Everyone wants that perfect season, but it's not gonna
It's
happen.
just not gonna
It's
happen.
just not plausible, man. This is a different type of football nowadays. We'd be lucky to see a team go undefeated for an entire season.
I mean,
ever
look at the
again.
Chiefs. The Chiefs just lost to the
To
Colts. The
Yeah,
same,
it's any
same
given
time.
Sunday, man. Yeah, you could be the best team in the league and go out and put up a dud.
The
Yeah.
Jags look fiery.
The Jags look like division winners right
We're
now.
gonna get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, the Jags are fun.
Yeah. But yeah, Miami is a good team now, man. For Bills fans, we have to realize this is the realization now. This is reality. That Miami they're the clear number, one, number two. They're not, number 3, number 4 anymore.
No,
you know what I
no.
mean? Like New England's taking a
There
step
is-
back. The Jets are still the Jets.
This is the '90s again.
Yep.
No, and that's
when,
what I
when
was.
the Dolphins had Marino,
Mhm.
it was never a cakewalk, and they would get us once in a while, and in general we were the better team, I would say, back in the day. And right now I'd say the Bills are probably slightly better than the Dolphins, but the Dolphins I think they're like a year behind us
Yeah.
in development.
No,
without a
for
doubt.
sure.
And it's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, everybody loves it better when they win by 20 every game. But
Right,
let's
right.
be honest. It's
You want to
it's-
see a blowout.
Feels good, yeah.
Van,
Yeah.
Von Miller had the best quote out of anybody. He was like, "That was good for us.
Yeah.
That was good for us because we gotta show up. We gotta work harder.
Yeah.
And that's from a guy like him. That's what you want him to do, right?
And
And you want him to say, you don't want him to be like the fans are. You want him to be
Yeah,
like,
right,
no,
right.
Exactly.
We gotta work. This isn't an easy game.
right.
And that was actually a big thing for me too, is how good our offensive line played against that pass rush. I mean, I felt like I didn't hear Von Miller's name that entire game.
He was not tranquilized. That was crazy. That's a crazy
That's a
word.
crazy word.
He was
Good
he
night.
was- He was silenced. Greg Rousseau though had a decent game.
Yeah,
but,
Rousseau had played amazing, but
And
it
that's
was,
that's
Miller
the
was
Von
shut
Miller
down.
effect. I mean, everyone's gonna put their attention on Von Miller,
For
and that's
sure.
gonna open up things for guys like Greg Rousseau, Boogie Basham,
Mhm.
Ed Oliver when he's back, Jordan Phillips when he's back.
Mhm.
But like you kind of like what you were saying, it's an unfortunate loss for the Bills. It is what it is, but that's a huge win for Miami. That's a huge confidence boost. That's an ego boost.
it is.
Now they're heading into that Thursday night game against the Bengals,
And
that there's another. I mean, you're going up against the former AFC champions.
mhm.
So all these games kind of become measuring sticks, and if they come out here and win this, yes, they're a Super Bowl contender. I will say it straight up.
And I could tell you that, like, too, where I was saying before the season that I would be shocked if Miami got out of this 2-2.
Yeah.
I did not expect us to be here, sitting here 3-0, going into Cincinnati.
You're number 1 in the AFC right now.
Yeah, I'd say if you would've
AFC, not
actually-
AFC East, AFC.
Exactly. Going into the season, you could have never told me Miami would be sitting 3-0 3 weeks into the season like this. So, I mean, we have a big opportunity. If we go in tomorrow when we beat Cincinnati at home on a short week, I think that puts the league on alert that we might be real competitors.
Enjoy the ride, my friend.
I
Sir.
agree. So yeah, let's go to our merch giveaway.
Yes.
You know, we talked about it last 2 weeks. We got a lot of, you know, feedback. You know, we got people who have ordered shirts. Damien's ordered some shirts.
Yes, sir.
As well. So yeah, I thank you to everybody who has ordered stuff so far. I appreciate you guys. You know, you guys rock. But we wanted to give back to you guys and, you know, make a little bit of opportunity. And so what we're going to do right now is we're going to pick a random name. And from our Instagram
Yes.
was two friend tags, follow the account, and repost a story.
So we had 17 total entries.
Yes.
So what I did was I just counted them one by one. I'm going to generate a random number. And that number, I'm going to count it down from the top comment all the way down. And that's the winner.
Yeah, I know a lot of my Crunch peeps that entered this. So
Crunch Peeps, and I know, shout out the NU club hockey team.
Yeah, I
because
saw
like
a couple
3 or
of them.
4 of them at least
Yeah.
reshared it. So shout out Sean, shout out that team. They're starting their season pretty soon. I think they started
next week, I think.
Yeah.
Or
So
this
Hockey
weekend.
season already, man. Wow.
it's coming. All right, generating that number in 3, 2, 1. That number is 10. So
Who's 10?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Who is it?
Oh God.
Who is it?
Why don't you take a guess?
Oh.
Dexter Griffin.
No.
No.
Close. Want to announce our winner?
Wow. Rodney Jones. What a guy. Rodney Jones wins our first Big Yak Podcast giveaway. Wow.
There will be more.
There will be
but-
more.
I think this was rigged, man. I'm not
This is
gonna lie.
rigged. Wow, that's crazy. What the heck?
Yeah, that was Google. That was the Google number randomizer. James,
Hey,
my
I
witness
watched it.
here.
I watched it.
Wow.
That was full randomization, man. Rodney got lucky.
Yeah, congratulations.
Shout out Rodney.
So yeah, we're gonna be doing another Big Yak Podcast giveaway real soon. You know, keep your eyes on our Instagram page. But yeah, congratulations, Rodney. You win a free premium T-shirt and a Big Yak sticker. So we'll definitely
Boom.
text you after this. So,
That's an easy one. That's an easy giveaway.
That's an easy one. That's an easy one. Alrighty. So let's go on to the rest of our show. Let's go on to the 2-minute drill.
Oh boy, here we go.
The 2-minute drill. We're gonna put Dame through the ringer. So it's gonna be 2 minutes. I'm gonna go first. Nico's gonna go second, and you're gonna take turns, and you're gonna see if you could beat that timer.
All right, I think I got this. Let's go.
All right, getting ready in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Jaguars are becoming one of the surprise teams this year. How high are you on them? Like for this season so far?
I
Going forward.
believe the hype. I think Peterson was the good coach for Trevor Lawrence. I like their offensive weapons. Kirk's turning out well. James Robinson's looking like running back once all over again off an injury. So I think they could win that division pretty easily too.
Vegas is the lone winless team. How worried are you as a Vegas fan?
I'm getting ready to throw in the towel. I think McDaniels should be on a hot seat already. We've seen him ruin one AFC West team already. He's looking like he's going to do it again.
Alrighty. Sterling Shepard tore his ACL. Do we see any of these following receivers emerge? Kenny Galladay, Kadarius Toney, or another name? Or neither. None of the above.
I definitely don't have any faith in Kenny Galladay. Tony, you just don't know. He's kind of has a hard time staying on the field. Give me David Sills.
David
That's-
Sills.
yeah.
Give me David Sills. Let me step up.
Yeah.
Are the Colts the fluke team of the NFL so far?
I want to say yes. I don't believe in them right now. Matt Ryan has not looked like a Falcons Matt Ryan. Not that I expect him to. He's an old man.
It's old.
Yeah, and outside of Michael Pittman, you can't trust any of those wide receivers, man.
Do you trust running back Dalvin Cook and his shoulder going forward, or would you ride with Madison?
Madison's on my fantasy football team. I'm riding with Madison.
Yeah.
I need him to go out there and prove that he could be a running back one.
Should Dallas rush Dak Prescott back or ride with Cooper Rush?
Hey, I think Cooper Rush has done enough to keep that team afloat. I mean, he's 2-0, 3-0 ever as a starter for the Cowboys. I don't think you rush back your franchise quarterback just yet.
Alrighty. Last question. Big one right here. Is Tua Tagovailoa a dark horse MVP candidate right now?
I think you could say so. He's definitely moved up. Lamar and Josh Allen probably still have the jump on him right now, but with that offense around him, if he could stay healthy, you could see him finishing in that top 4 MVP voting.
3 seconds to
3
seconds
seconds to
Nice
spare.
job, Dame.
Let's
Although
go,
I have
Dave.
one more question for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
So Josh Allen appeared to accuse Christian Wilkins of crotch grabbing in the Bills-Dolphins game.
Grabbing the crotch.
Okay.
So come tomorrow on Sunday or Thursday Night Football, Over-under on Christian Wilkins' crotch grabs are set at 1.5. Over or under?
I'm taking the over every time. Christian Wilkins has always been known to be kind of a weird player with that. He's gotten a lot of.
Hey, a little sus.
Listen, he's definitely a little sus to say the least. He takes pride in, I think, in trying to get in quarterbacks' heads with that.
You saw it on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to think it's a joke. I don't know kind of why he got his helmet ripped off. So, I mean, we'll see. But, I mean, I'm hoping he's not going to grab on Joe Burrow too much.
Alrighty, and that was our 2-minute drill. Yeah, you won with 3 seconds left. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Thank you,
That's
guys.
up there.
I try.
Yes, sir. Let's go on to Take It to the Bank. Let's go to our first slate of games. And the first slate of games, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Damien's Miami Dolphins at the Cincinnati Bengals. So we have the spread is 3.5. Money line for Cincy is 210. They have Miami as underdogs at 175.
Not even just underdogs. They have them as 4-point underdogs.
4-point underdogs.
I think it's I don't want to say it's a disrespect thing. We just fought a very tough game against a division rival.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati's finally starting to heat up. I mean, they played the Jets, so I can't put too much onto that. But I don't think it should be at 4. I guess if Tua doesn't play, if we have to start Teddy Bridgewater, maybe I could see that.
Yeah.
But it's looking as of right now, all the players we have listed as questionable are going to suit up tomorrow night. So.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I'm sitting here. Give me Dolphins. I saw them firsthand and how they can play and what that offense is capable of.
Yeah.
So give me that and give me the over too. None of these defense I really trust. Kind of like how we alluded to, Miami's red zone defense is really good.
Mm-hmm.
But everything worked perfectly
for them, and it's not going to always be. It's not going to always be like that, especially without Byron Jones. Still, Xavier Howard's probably going to have to shadow Jamar Chase all game. Kind of what he gets stuck doing whenever he's the top wide receiver. And we got an undrafted rookie starting opposite of him. I could see T. Higgins having a game.
Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler
Boyd in the slot could also probably have himself a game. So their
Joe
offense,
Mixon out the backfield even.
So I mean, the Bengals could definitely put up a lot of points on us. I think this would be a game where we have to rely more on the offense once again.
Alrighty.
I think you're going to do that just fine.
Yeah, I'm picking Miami as well. So we have first slate of Sunday games. We have our first international game, Minnesota versus New Orleans. Going into this game, we have Minnesota's favorites. They're 2.5. Money line's at 142. And then we have the Saints as underdogs at plus 120. Over-under is 43.5. What are we thinking right here for this London game?
So this is, I think, a toss-up. The spread, I think, is too big for what it is. I mean, Saints at +3, I grabbed with the under. It's a 9:30 game. Everyone's gonna have jet lag. These England games always kind of suck.
Yeah, they're always kind of underwhelming.
Exactly. So I think this is going to be a really low-scoring game. Hopefully, Alvin Kamara kind of kicks off. You're going to see a lot of Delvin Cook, a lot of Alexander Madison. Give me Saints in a close one and give me the under.
I would probably ride with the Saints too. I don't care for the Vikings the way their offense looks right now. I know they're coming off a win against the Lions. Their performance just has looked too inconsistent. Kirk Cousins does not look like a good quarterback right now. He's missing a lot of throws. Dalvin Cook has looked non-existent as well. I don't know. I know they're bringing in a new head coach. He did a lot of throwing last year with Stafford in L.A., but Cousins is not Stafford. So.
Right. I'm going to side with you guys. I'm going to go with the underdogs and the Saints. We go to our 1 o'clock games. We have two teams who have been underwhelming in the AFC South. We have Tennessee at Indianapolis. Spread is 3. Tennessee is the underdog, and over-under is 43. For me personally, I'm gonna ride with the Colts just because they came off a big win versus Kansas City. What do you guys think?
This is where we disagree. I have the Titans. Derrick Henry's starting to heat up. I think we're gonna get back to the King. The King's gonna take his crown back. Give me that. He's gonna run all over them Colts. Like you said, the Colts can't get anything started. So again, this is another one where it could be a toss-up. So I'm gonna ride with the underdog and give me the over too. At 42.5, I could see this being a quick 24-21 game.
Oh, for sure. And I don't really have faith in either one of these teams right now. I think the Tannehill experiment in Tennessee needs to be done with. I saw him in Miami for most of my life, and he was never much in Miami. He doesn't look like much now. I do think that Henry is going to start getting better. He just had a great game against Oakland. I'm going to take the Colts just coming off a big win against the Chiefs. They're considered a top contender. But as Nico said, I don't have faith really in either one of these. This is a toss-up.
Yeah, real stinker.
Yeah.
So we go on to our next game. We have Chicago at Giants, another kind of an iffy game.
It's another stinker.
Yeah. So the spread is 3.5. Giants are favored at -180. Bears are underdogs at +152, and the over/under is 39. I'm gonna go Giants. You know, they lost to Dallas last week, but I think they redeemed themselves because Chicago, Justin Fields looks horrible.
Yeah.
And the Chicago just doesn't look good. So what do you guys think?
Honestly, I would probably say the Giants are the safe bet. I probably wouldn't touch this game personally. I just don't really like either team. I don't care for Daniel Jones. I think, especially now losing Sterling Shepard, who was having a decent start. The Bears, though, I'm gonna. You know what? I'll take the underdog. I'll take the Bears.
Ooh.
I think their running
Bears.
attack. I think their running attack is enough to keep them afloat.
Khalil Herbert had a crazy game.
Yeah, he did. And Montgomery's only listed day to day. He could still play. I think their running attack could win them this one. I don't see Justin Fields winning them a football game in any situation. He's just not looked good. And I can honestly see them moving on from him if he doesn't show something at all this season.
Right.
You guys want to hear my take for this game?
Mm-hmm.
Saquon Barkley finishes with more rushing yards than Justin Fields has passing yards.
Oh yeah.
I
Take
wouldn't
that to
even.
the
I wouldn't. I would not
even
look
doubt
that
it.
past you. Yeah.
Yeah, because
160. I see 160 rushing yards for. They're gonna ride Saquon until the coattails fall off.
I don't even blame him.
The over under is set at 38.5.
You had to take the over. The under.
I'm
like
still
that,
taking the
traps.
under.
Really?
I'm still taking the under at there.
Hey,
This is
listen.
gonna be one of these
Stinkers,
gross
dude.
17,
Stinker,
14
this is-
games.
This is a real stinker, man. This is nasty.
Yeah. That's a rough game here. So next we have the Buffalo Bills at the Baltimore Ravens.
This is the game of the week.
So 3-point spread. They have Buffalo as the favorites. -174. Over under is 52.5.
Are you guys on the road or at home?
We're on the road. I'm a little scared of what I'm about to say. I really want to pick Buffalo here, but I don't know. It depends who we get back Sunday. That's
Let me
the
ask you
thing.
this: who do you think is gonna win?
Who do I think is going to win?
Straight up, like money line. Who's gonna win?
Money line. Baltimore just look.
You think Baltimore's gonna win it?
Lamar Jackson has been the best quarterback in the NFL, I think, right now. And,
That's fair. That's a fair take.
And their defense is a little suspect. I think our injuries are just a little too much right now. I think we drop another one. And I know a lot of Bills fans out there are gonna, they're gonna say something to me about this, but I'm not biased. I'm not a biased Bills fan. I really believe it's gonna be a really good game. Baltimore's gonna give us a really good test. I'm gonna take Baltimore. As much as I don't want to do it, I got it.
All right. So here's my thing with the Bills, particularly with betting and how it's been for the longest time. You have to pick on who you're gonna win, who you think's gonna win, and if it's the Bills, you have to take the over and you have to take them covering because they have now won how many games? Anytime they've won a game, they have won by 10 plus points in 20 consecutive games.
Yeah, that's going on now. Yep.
So I'm gonna pick Buffalo for this one. Just given the circumstances, they're pissed off. They're coming out of Miami, and they're still hungry for that win. And I think they have a good bounce back and turnaround game. Josh Allen tweaks the things that he needs to tweak to get the ball into the end zone, which was their only issue coming into last week.
100%.
So they're rested. They got all the IVs in them. Give me the Bills. Give me the over. Give me Bills -10 because that's what the trend's gonna be.
Okay.
I think it's a safe bet to take the Bills right now. If they get healthy, I don't think even with a healthy defense anybody stops Lamar Jackson right now. He's on a tear. He's trying to make his money, be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in all of football. They're definitely on a streak right now, but I think I agree with Nico. The Bills are mad. You're losing to a division rival. You're 2-1. You could be 3-0. I think you guys can go into Baltimore and beat up on that Ravens defense. The Dolphins gave them fits, and if your offense is healthy, you're always going to be in the game. So
Yeah. I mean,
Let's not forget the Bills defense did their job last week.
they did.
Despite the injuries, despite all the adversity, they
And-
did their job.
And the Ravens don't have anybody nearly as explosive as Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle to contend with. So
Right. Maybe Rashad Bateman. I don't want to jinx this, but maybe he,
I mean, he's been good these first few weeks. I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Xavier Rhodes is gonna help stop that.
That's scary. That's
He's taking a one-way ticket to Kaiir Island.
There you go.
I just got a text from my sister and my dad as I just said that on live. That fake Bills fan. They just texted me that. So I know you guys are watching out there. I'm not a fake Bills fan. I'm just trying to tell the truth. All right, so
He's being an
we'll be
unbiased
revisiting
host.
this next Wednesday.
well, if they win, then I'm happy. But if
It's
they
a
lose-
win-win for you.
That's what I'm saying.
They win, they lose. You're right.
Yeah. Next game, we're gonna go on to the Chargers at the Houston Texans. 5.5.
Suddenly another stinker.
Yeah.
Yes.
5.5 spread. They have Chargers as the favorites. Houston as underdogs. Over under is 44.5. Chargers did not look good last week.
Chargers haven't
against
showed me
Jacksonville.
anything
They
to
have
be
not.
5.5 favorites.
No, they've looked like a horrible football team. You know, they beat up on the Raiders, who are the only 0-3 football team,
Mhm.
and then they get spanked by the Jacksonville Jaguars at home last week. I mean, I think it's time to panic as a Chargers fan too. Their injuries are adding up. They're piling up. Herbert's playing
Seems to
with.
be the case every season. with the
Yeah,
Chargers.
they can never buy a break. You know, you buy in all these guys in the offseason. J.C. Jackson has not played his football game yet.
Right.
Herbert's playing with broken ribs.
Mhm.
Bosa out on IR now. You're losing your franchise left tackle.
They lost their Rashawn Slater too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're losing your franchise guy. That's your blindside protector
Mhm.
for your franchise quarterback who's already dealing with broken ribs.
Yeah, he's going to play. I think Justin Herbert is a very tough player.
100%.
I think he's still going to play kind of watching his back a little bit because he doesn't have that blindside blocker. But, you know, I think there's just too much disrespect on the Texans still for them to be 5.5-point underdogs at home.
Are you taking them as
I'm
underdogs?
taking them. I'm
And-
taking them straight up. I'm taking the money line on that.
Oh.
I agree with Nico. I think the Texans could prove something here. They did this last season too. They played spoiler to the Chargers last year. When the Chargers needed to win the most,
That's
they
true.
went into
That's true.
Houston and Houston beat them.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's a bit of a different coaching staff now. Their offense has looked kind of out of sync in Houston, but if they were going to take advantage of a defense, this would be the week to do so.
Yeah, they're getting the Chargers at maybe their lowest. I don't know if you want to call it that, but they're definitely on a low point right now. So I'm gonna agree with you guys. Give me Houston as an upset here. My boy Davis Mills.
Yeah, I think everybody here is on the Davis Mills train. I think everybody wants
sir.
him to work out
We're
for
rooting
them.
for him.
Yeah, because I mean the guy was a nobody at some point, and he went out and showed he could play. So
Right.
hopefully that works out.
Right. Next game we have Seattle at Detroit. 4.5-point spread. They have Detroit as the favorites, and the over/under is 50.
When was the last time Detroit was a favorite?
That is a good question.
It couldn't have
That
been
is-
any
And
time.
4.5-point favorite.
4.5-point favorite. I mean, Seattle is a bottom 3 team.
This is a huge prove-it moment for Detroit, and if I'm a Detroit fan, I'm excited. I
Yes.
am pumped to be a Detroit Lions fan
100%.
for the first time since Kelvin Johnson was playing.
I really
Yeah.
thought they were going to pull it off last week against Minnesota. It's just
I think that would have definitely catapulted them a little bit further this week. It's tough. I think they deserve to be the favorites for sure. It's a little tough. They're dealing with a lot of injuries now.
You want to know who the top 3 scoring offenses in the NFL is right now? The
Oh,
Bills, the Ravens, and the Lions. So
no Dolphins.
No, all right, man. Thanks.
They're four. Give me the Lions. Give me them covering. Give me the over. They're gonna beat up on the Seahawks team. They might even get 42 of those 49 points themselves.
Oh.
This might be a 42-10 game.
Okay.
Lions. Give me
Right.
that. Give me
Yeah,
that. To
I'm
the bank.
picking Lions as well.
I'm definitely gonna take the Lions. I don't know about 42-10. Their defense is a little suspect, but
Yeah.
I could see 42 points out of them. They did it on the Eagles. They put 35 up. So
Alrighty. Jets at Pittsburgh.
this is a stinker too.
Yeah,
man.
3.5-point spread. They have Pittsburgh as the favorites, and it's a 40.5 over/under. What are we thinking? I'm thinking. Ooh.
Can you say
I
this
don't know what I'm
confidently?
thinking.
You sounded
I
confident.
was
You
gonna
s-
say-
you said
I was gonna
something.
say,
Yeah.
I was almost confident.
I'm
I'm gonna take the Jets.
Me too.
I'm taking the Jets.
I'm glad you take.
taking the Jets.
Give me the
Zach
Jets.
Wilson.
Zach Wilson's
back.
coming back.
Yeah. Zach Wilson's probably going to come out here. I mean, he might be a little bit, rusty, first game of the season, but I really think he can go out there, especially against Pittsburgh, who doesn't have a TJ Watt. I think they're going to come out there, and Zach Wilson's going to, I don't know about light it up exactly, but I think he's going to lead the Jets to a win. Joe Flacco's been great. Not
Joe
great,
has.
but
Great.
solid.
Whoa,
I
whoa,
don't know
whoa.
about great. Serviceable.
Solid.
He's been a game
Serviceable.
manager.
Yeah. He was 5th in passing, or something like that. He's top 10 in passing I will say
That's
that.
fair. Okay. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think Zach Wilson could definitely take advantage of the Steelers team. As you said, no T.J. Watt. Minka Fitzpatrick, I could have swore I saw was in concussion protocol.
Oh, yeah.
So he could miss. I don't know exactly how long that's going to take for him to recover from. And the Jets' offense is kind of started to click a little bit. Maybe last week, not so much, only field goals. But Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Elijah Moore, they got the weapons. It's a matter of Zach Wilson takes that step and shows he can actually hit a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
This game has the makings to be like one of the best ones. Like it's always like, oh, one of these like crap games that you're like whatever, and then the game that you wanted to watch the whole time is over. You finally turn to it, and this game is spectacular. So if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm hiding my mom's. Zach Wilson's back.
Wow.
Give me them plus 3.5. Give me the over. This is gonna be a fun one.
Hide your mom.
Hide your moms.
Next game we have is Jacksonville at Philadelphia. Rodney did talk about he was going to this game.
Yep.
Our big yak.
That's a
winner.
huge game.
That's a huge game. They have Philadelphia as favorites, 6.5 point spread, 48.5 over under. Jacksonville is on the road in Philly.
That's a big spread.
Yeah, that's a little too much.
Yeah,
I'd say.
I'm gonna go Philly here. I think Philly
You
keeps.
think
the
Philly
high end.
covers?
I think Philly keeps the high end here.
I think Philly wins. Jacksonville covers.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good game. I think this game's going to come down to a field goal. You got two really good offenses these are the two surprise teams
For
of
sure.
the season so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is going to be a shootout. But I think the Eagles pull it away in a close one.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to roll with the Eagles. The Eagles have looked, to me, the most impressive team in the NFC. Their offense is clicking on all cylinders. Jalen Hurts looks like a much improved passer. I think this will be the first big test for Trevor Lawrence, playing against a defense that just destroyed Carson Wentz, who had a great 2 weeks. So, yeah, I'll go with the Eagles.
Alrighty. Let me go to Cleveland at Atlanta. There's a lot of stinker games this
I don't
week.
know,
I
man.
mean, if you look at the coverage map for the 1 o'clock games, it's almost all Buffalo, Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's gonna be. I'm surprised they didn't try to flex that one, man. Yeah, that's a horrible. I mean, that's a game that should be primetime.
Well, now you have a game in Kansas City and Tampa Bay that might be played in Minnesota.
Yeah, I
I
did
heard.
see something about that. Yeah.
So, like, this would have been a perfect opportunity for the NFL to kind of break that rule with not flexing games until like week 5 or whatever it is.
Mhm.
Pull that game out because that crowd's going to be, 50% full for this
Yeah,
game? I mean, you're in
if you're
Minneapolis.
lucky,
Yeah. And put in, like, one of these primetime games. Either whether it be the Ravens and the Bills or the Eagles and the Jags. I mean,
100%.
both of those games would have been great candidates.
Right.
Yeah. For this game, I'm gonna go with the road team. I'm gonna go with the Cleveland Browns. Shout out Jules.
Yeah, I agree.
Spreads 1.5. They have Cleveland as the favorites, Falcons as the underdogs at home. Over under is 49.5.
That's too high for an over-under.
Yeah.
Give me the under there.
Give me the under and give me Cleveland.
I'm right there with you.
Give me Cleveland.
That's going to be a rushing ground and pound game for them.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm gonna take the over there. Jacoby
All right.
Brissett's looked not horrible. He's playing against a pretty weak Atlanta team that just had a really close game with the Seahawks. That Falcons team is fun to watch on offense. They're a stinker on defense, 100%. Mariota has looked serviceable. Drake London looks like a true wide receiver number 1. Kyle Pitts a little bit more involved last week. I'm gonna take the over, but I will take the Browns winning that game.
Sounds good. Washington Commanders at Dallas Cowboys. 3.5 point spread. They have Dallas as the favorites. Over under is 42.5. I don't know what I'm gonna pick here. I kind of want to say. I don't know if I want to say Dallas. I think.
How about them Cowboys? They're stinking it up. I mean,
I
they
wanna
have
say
that win
Washington.
against the Giants, but they just don't look good. And I
that game
think
wasn't good.
It comes down to the coaching too. I mean, you got CeeDee Lamb who dropped what would be a spectacular touchdown. It was right in the breadbasket, and him and everyone on the sidelines laughing about it at the
It's a joke.
like I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I would be pretty pissed off as a Cowboys fan seeing my whole team laugh off a gimme like that when the game's on the line against a divisional opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Give me Washington. I think they bounce back this week.
Yep.
But
Carson Wentz, he's going to continue his MVP tear.
Oh God.
what?
I said that with a straight face. He's going to continue his MVP tear.
MVP what?
Anyways.
I can see the Commanders bouncing back on this one. Their offense is the Cowboys' offense has not looked good. CeeDee Lamb's not looked like a wide receiver 1 yet. Schultz is hurt. I'm going to go with the Commanders. I think Carson Wentz has done a good job spreading the ball out using all his weapons. I'm going to go with the Commanders.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We're going to the 4 o'clock games. Only 3 4 o'clock games this
That's
week.
interesting.
Yeah. We have Arizona at Carolina, 1.5 point spread.
These games are horrible. This week.
They have Panthers as favorites. Over under is 43.
That's just disrespectful to the.
I'm going Arizona as road underdogs here. The Cardinals, they have been very mediocre so far this season.
For sure.
But I think Carolina is, if they're not the worst, I think they're the second worst team in the NFL. So give me Arizona.
Yeah. Quarterback, underwhelming. DJ Moore, underwhelming. CMC, hurt.
Yeah, he's a
This
thigh injury
is
now.
the repeat of the last Panthers team that we've seen the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Give me the Cardinals winning. Give me the Cardinals at +2. Give me the over. Yeah, there's not much else.
What's
to
the
say.
over-under at?
It is at 43.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm going to take the Cardinals. I don't think this changes much for them. This is a game that they say you're going to win and you should win. I still think this is Cliff Kingsbury's last year as Arizona head coach.
I think both coaches, this is about to be their last.
I don't see Matt Rule making it past week 8.
No.
At this point, Kingsbury is going to do this thing where he's going to play. He's going to have the season go out. I can't see him being an NFL head coach after this. He's done nothing to prove he deserves this.
He needs to be a
job.
coordinator.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to. He can't coach for anything. Great offensive mind, but not a head coach.
Right. Next game we have is Denver at Las Vegas.
All right, man. I'm done with these games.
Yeah, no.
Okay, this one.
Is it just me? Is there just a lot of really bad teams this year?
Yeah.
That's
There's like really good
The
teams.
NFL is very top
And there's
heavy.
really bad teams.
100%.
There's no parity. All this work and time and energy they put in the parity, and there's no freaking parity. Like,
100%.
I mean, like, and who? The sad part is someone's gonna have to watch that game because there won't be any other games on.
Right.
I mean, that game the other night was just. I just fell asleep.
Oh, I
It
fell
was
asleep.
so
Sunday nighter?
bad.
I fell asleep on the
It
Sunday
was
nighter.
So bad.
Oh my God,
Was it
Denver
11
looks
to
so
10?
stale. Denver or San Francisco looks stale.
I fell asleep during the Monday nighter.
Jimmy
the
Garoppolo.
was not any better.
Yeah.
Made the comment that they should have paid the punter $250,000.
Yeah.
It was a punt game, dude.
$250 million instead of the Russell. I'm like, I mean, how many
Russell
punts
Wilson
were there
clapped
in that-
back,
how
too.
many
Did you see
punts were
that?
there in that game?
3-0
There was
against
like
them, yeah.
14, 15 punts that game. That's a lot.
I was talking to my brother. I'm like, he's like, can you think of a worse game than that game? And I said, remember the time like the Bills played Cleveland and the score was 6-3.
That was a snow game, right?
No, it wasn't even a snow game. They just both stunk.
It was just beautiful,
And I remember
75
that
and
was at a
sunny.
party.
And it was 6-3.
And like, and I think it was tied 3-3 with like a minute. I think someone got Buffalo lost, but like that was the worst game I ever saw. But there's going to be so many bad games this week.
Yeah, these are not fun games this week at all.
Come to watch golf this week. Or something. I mean, like, seriously.
Hey, hockey preseason's starting up.
Right,
Hey, Sabres won.
Get my attention.
There you go.
Roll Sabres.
Go Sabres. So 2.5 point spread. They have the Raiders, the winless Raiders, as the favorites this week.
That's
Over under is
disrespectful.
4.5 points. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of this one?
Yeah, Raiders lose this one.
I'm telling you right now, I'm not letting Russell Wilson cook anything ever again if I'm a Denver Broncos fan. I don't know if it's Russell Wilson.
Wilson's cooking that mystery meat.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I don't know if it's Russell Wilson to blame or if it's Hackett or
I think it's
what
all
it
of the
is.
above.
Yeah, it's just not looked like a match made in heaven how Broncos fans thought it was when they traded for him.
This is another one that I think just comes down to coaching. Because
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is still going to be Russell Wilson. You're still going to see Russell Wilson be himself at some point this season. I just don't know when.
And I can't keep hoping it's going to be every week. I just got to wait for it to happen.
Yeah.
I want the Broncos to win. I don't want to see the Raiders do
I'm
anything.
rooting for the Broncos. Yeah, the Raiders.
Yeah,
They're underwhelming to me, and they're not very fun to watch. I mean,
they're not. They make these plays. They make these trades for these big name players, and they look like a sleeper team, and they've looked like they've been outmatched in every single game they've played so far.
Yeah.
Yep.
Give me Denver
Agreed.
as well. Last 4 o'clock game we have New England at Green Bay. Listen to the numbers on this one. Green Bay is favorites. The spread is 10.
Oof.
Over under is 40.5. Yeah, Green Bay's money line is minus 480. We're in Lambeau.
Well, I'm not going to bet any money on it because I don't think I'm going to win anything.
Yeah. New England is most likely not going to have Mac Jones. We're probably going to see Brian Hoyer versus Aaron Rodgers.
that's the point where in this rare instance where the over-under is so low and the spread is so wide, I'm still taking the Packers to cover and the under. I would be surprised to see the Patriots score 10 points.
Yeah, and this is definitely a very underrated Green Bay defense that just held, I know they're a hurt team, but a Buccaneers team to 12 points. I think that the Green Bay Packers go in there and they definitely will cover the spread. I think this is going to be a game where Aaron Rodgers actually shows off for once.
This is going to be like a 28-7 type game.
Yeah.
It's not going to be very high scoring, but it's going to be a dominant
I think
showing of the Packers.
I think 7's even being nice. I don't believe in any Brian Hoyer-led offense.
No.
Especially when Mac Jones was out there stinking it up too.
Right. So we got our Sunday night game. The game a lot of people are talking about. We have Brady versus Mahomes. Kansas City at Tampa Bay. Classic games. Is it going to be classic, though? Both teams coming off losses. I don't know.
You know,
might not be the traditional game.
Say what you want about this, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did have to move their whole base of operations because of this hurricane. I think they're going to be off their game a little bit, just due to everything kind of going on.
For sure.
And so the Chiefs have the clear advantage here, and they're only 2-point favorites. I think this is the gimme here. The Chiefs are going to win this one. They're coming off a loss. They're pissed off. So I think the same way that you see the Bills and Ravens game, Chiefs are going to come here and kind of spank them around a little bit. But still, give me the under. The Bucs offense hasn't been good.
Been not healthy. No receivers.
Yeah. Even when it was healthy, though, that first week against Cowboys, it didn't look.
I think, they scored 12 points?
It was mostly field goals. I think they had one touchdown. It was the Mike Evans touchdown. It was just not anything
16,
special.
I forget what it was.
Yeah, so I would probably definitely say the Chiefs, and I think this is going to be a classic Patrick Mahomes game. I know that Buccaneers defense is stifling for sure, but that's against the run. The Chiefs are already not a very good running team as it is.
Yeah.
I could see Pat Mahomes going off this one.
I got you. I agree. I'm going to go Chiefs as well. Last game we have, Monday Night Football, Los Angeles at San Francisco. 2.5-point spread. They have Los Angeles as not the favorites, the underdogs.
What?
Plus 110 and 42.5-point spread. Let me double check that for you, but I'm almost positive that is a Los Angeles is the underdogs.
They really want a San Francisco team that just put up 10 points last Sunday to be a favorite.
Well, let me double check this real quick. We have Rams are not.
Well, here's the thing. The Niners, going back in the last 5 games, the Niners are 4-1 against the Rams. For whatever reason, they have the blueprint against the Rams and Matt Stafford. I mean, I think they're going to take a look at Buffalo's game against them and take some notes off of that.
For sure.
They're going to find ways to exploit that defense, and I have the 49ers covering this one. It's in San Francisco. I think they win this because it's Jimmy G still. It's not like they have they do have their backup quarterback playing, but their backup quarterback was the one that just brought them to the Super Bowl a few years ago.
True.
And brought them to the playoffs last year against sweeping the Rams in the regular season.
Right.
The Rams ultimately ended up winning and then went on to win the Super Bowl, but I think this is a different Rams team, but this is pretty much the same 49ers. Give me the Niners. Give me the over.
Yeah, I could respect that. I kind of forget the Niners have such success against the Rams for some reason. I don't know what it is between McVay and Shanahan, but I could see the Niners covering. I don't really care for Jimmy G. I never have. He's won games with them, but he does have the weapons, so I guess we'll see.
I'm gonna pick the Rams.
Rams?
I'm gonna go and I'm gonna say the Rams. I'm gonna say they break that little streak or whatever it is, 4-1, that record. I did not like what I saw from San Francisco.
I'm not putting money on this game.
Yeah,
this game could go either way too. So I don't know. There's no gimme.
I would say this is another pick'em game for sure. One of these, both these teams have been very underwhelming this season. So you can kind of go either way with this one.
Right. So second half of Take It to the Bank, we're gonna go over some player props, some weekly specials. So I'm just gonna go down the line. It's gonna go from the lowest odds to larger odds. Okay. So we have
I like this game.
Yes, sir. We have Stephon Diggs and Mark Andrews to combine for 200+ yards receiving.
No.
Plus 150. Take it to the bank, yes or no?
I'm not doing that.
For 200 yards only at plus 150?
To combine, they both say like one has 100, another has 100.
That's not going to happen.
Okay.
That's not good. For plus 150? Come on.
I don't feel like you guys have been exploited by tight ends too much yet.
Not yet, no.
So, I mean, I know Mark Andrews is a top, 2 or 3 tight end, but I don't see it. And we'll see. I mean, Diggs is always going to get his, but I don't know about Mark Andrews going off just yet.
Okay. either DK Metcalf or Amon-Ra St. Brown, if Amon-Ra plays, to have 100-plus receiving yards, plus
like this
150.
You're giving me
So
two
one of them
choices.
has to do 100.
You're giving me two choices of a player to possibly go 100 plus. Yeah, Amon-Ra's going to do it if he plays.
Yeah, I would definitely put money on this one. This one makes a little bit more sense. I didn't care for the combined 200, but if you're asking one or the other, these guys are both number ones on their teams. They're not really fighting for targets. So
Yep.
Right. Next one we have battle of rookies this week with receivers. Either George Pickens or Garrett Wilson to have 75-plus yards receiving. Both their target shares have been going up as of recent, especially this past game for both. Plus 150 to have 75-plus yards.
My heart says take this. My mind says no. Zach Wilson, I think, is going to be a little slow to start. I ultimately think he's going to win and have a good game. But he'll be a slow start, and he'll look to spread the ball out a little bit more. Pickens, he had that spectacular catch, but then he kind of disappeared.
After. Yeah, I don't really see it with Pickens yet. Doesn't feel like that he's a major part of their offense. Deontay Johnson is still consuming pretty much all their major targets on the offense.
And I think he will be. I think he'll eventually have a feature role in that offense, but it's just
I don't see it with Claypool anymore. The way they use Claypool has been just odd for me this season.
Yeah.
A lot of like in the slot, a lot of end arounds and stuff. I would probably take this. I like Garrett Wilson. I think that Steelers secondary is very easy to pick apart. Their cornerbacks are weak.
Oh, yeah. Akello Witherspoon has been decimated.
He's been food for pretty much any wide receiver that lines up against him. So Garrett Wilson, I think, could have a great game.
Alrighty. Either Cooper Kupp or Deebo Samuel to have 125-plus receiving yards, plus 150.
This is easy. Cooper Kupp is going to hit that 9 times out of 10.
Easy?
James says easy.
At 150?
Cooper Kupp gets
125. 125.
That's even worse.
So wait, 125 receiving yards, 150 odds.
Yes.
I mean, the
plus
odds are
150.
horrible. The odds are horrible for sure. But Cooper Kupp, man, I mean,
It's too much of a toss-up for me to take it at plus 150.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd put money. I don't like bets like this because they're a little too small.
Oh, they're gimmies. They're money grabs. It's just, this is how FanDuel and
makes their money.
Yeah,
these are horrible. These are horrible odds for stuff that isn't going to happen in a game.
If you give me plus 500, I'd probably take it.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think Cooper Kupp has the ability any week with the amount of targets.
That feels like a plus 500 bet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 125 yards is. I mean, how many receivers each week are going for 125 yards?
Exactly.
So I don't like that.
Debo, I think you use him too much in the run game for him to be a factor to get 125 receiving. If it was 125 all-purpose, I could totally see that. But not just receiving.
I know he didn't want to do the running back role when he re-signed. That was his major argument. It doesn't seem like he had a say in that because he's still doing it. So
either Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor to have 125-plus rushing yards, plus 175.
Still no. Jonathan Taylor did not practice today. We don't know if he's going to be there. Derrick Henry, I still need to see more than just one good game from him to think that he's back.
Right.
Agreed. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Especially if Shaq Leonard plays. I know he's been hurt these first few weeks. If Shaq Leonard is able to step onto the football field, it's a big part of the middle of their defense. I'm not taking this bet.
Alrighty. Chris Olave and Justin Jefferson to combine for 200-plus yards receiving in London, plus 175. Are you taking that?
Not happening. Not in London.
Combined.
I think Olave has a breakout game because Thomas and Jarvis are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But Justin Jefferson's also been very quiet, and he's probably going to line up against Marshawn Lattimore.
Right.
So I'm not taking this either, especially as a London game. London games are always so finicky. They never turn out the way you think.
No. I know that from experience with fantasy.
Yeah.
Next one we have either Tyreek Hill or Jamar Chase to have 125-plus yards receiving, plus 200.
I'm taking this.
You're taking this.
I'm taking this. The Bengals have a pass-heavy offense. Jamar Chase is the focal point. And, I mean, he's lined up against a top corner in the league, but this is also a team coming off on a short week against a tough Bills team that they just beat on. So I'm going to take it, too, because Tyreek Hill's coming for Eli Apple.
Oh, I was just about to say that.
That's
they already said it in the press.
Yeah,
Tyreek Hill and Eli Apple versus Jamar Chase versus whoever.
Yeah.
I mean, Xavier Howard, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they're probably going to move Jamar Chase all over the field, so you're going to make Xavier Howard chase him all game.
Yep.
That's a recipe for a disaster at some point. But I could see Tyreek Hill or Jamar Chase in this. Tyreek Hill has already said he wants revenge on Eli Apple. And Tua's already made it known that he will get him the ball. And the Bengals run man coverage more than any other team in the football.
Yes.
So
boom.
Both Nick Bosa and Aaron Donald to record a sack, plus 200. Both have to have at least one.
One sack.
It's, I think I would take this.
This is a fool's gold bet.
It is.
This is fool's gold bet written all. You take a big name and you're like, oh, just a sack.
I could see why. So I agree with you because that is what they're doing. It's a money grab. You see these guys, you're like, oh, these are two of the best defensive players.
One of
in
them
football.
will have a sack, just not both of them.
Yeah.
I think Nick Bosa gets a half sack and pisses everybody off.
And, you would think that Bosa, after the game Von Miller had against the Rams, where they're suffering from losses on that offensive line. Yeah, no, I don't think I take that. Nico makes a pretty good point with that.
Yeah. Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes to throw for 4+ touchdown passes, one or the other, plus 300.
No.
Nope.
Not touching that at all.
I could see it happening, but I'm not putting money on Patrick Mahomes throwing four touchdown
That
passes.
defense, even though I think he's poised for a big game against them, that defense is still showing that it is one of the top ones in football, if not the best. I'm not saying 4 touchdowns.
Gotcha. Both Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence to each throw 2+ touchdown passes, plus 350.
Also, no.
This
Also
is another
no.
fool's gold one because Jalen Hurts is going to have 3 touchdowns this game, 1 in the air, 2 on the ground.
I could see that Jalen Hurts only has 4 touchdowns passing this year.
Boom.
At the end of the day, he does do a lot of his scoring through or on the ground.
Yep.
So, I can't see that. Trevor Lawrence, I could see it. He's playing a tough defense. He's probably going to play from behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see the passing touchdowns for Trevor Lawrence. I don't see it for Jalen Hurts.
Eckler and Pierce, 75+ rushing yards each, plus 700.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely
Austin
not.
Eckler
Okay.
has taken a step back. He does not run the ball a lot. They want to save
What
him
a
for the rest
waste
of
of
the
a
year.
first-round pick.
Unbelievable, man. I get you want to keep the guy healthy. You want to keep him
Fantasy,
shape.
I should say.
Yeah.
But you're right. But your team's already falling apart, and now you're not using your running back the way that he was the last couple of years when he was dominant.
Yeah.
Dameon Pierce might have a game where he's playing against a depleted defense, but I'm not seeing Austin Eckler take advantage of this.
Boom. Agreed. Right
Last one we have James Conner and Christian McCaffrey to have 100+ scrimmage yards each, plus 800.
At plus 800,
I wouldn't mind putting.
This is
money
like
on
one
that.
of those $10.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll
Yeah.
get my $80
Because, those guys definitely play a big part in that receiving game. So, they're definitely going to get their receptions, and that could always turn into something big.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see either one of them doing too much on the ground, but I could see that. I would probably put 5 or 10 on that just for the hell of it.
Gotcha. All right, and that's Take It to the Bank. Let's move on to our fantasy football segment. So I just want to talk about this real quick. Last night, me and Damien made a blockbuster trade in Jules' league.
Yeah, it was an interesting
Yeah,
one for
that
sure.
was a big one. I got a text from Mike and was like, I need your thoughts.
Yeah,
Oh, shit,
I
here we go.
needed thoughts, man. So basically the trade was Damien was in the chat, right, and he was just like, let's make a trade. He was like, I want Najee, Mike. I'm like, you want Najee? All right. So we sent a couple of trades back and forth, and so we came to the agreement of Najee Harris. So I have Najee, Devontae Smith, and Breece Hall for his Leonard Fournette, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Devontae Adams. I think it is a win-win trade because Damien took my potential keeper for next year in Breece Hall. So
And Najee Harris.
Najee can't be a keeper.
Oh,
'cause he's the
he last year? You ended up keeping him?
No, so I was going to keep him,
But
and
he
then
was in
I
the
first round.
I did Josh
okay,
instead. So Najee was a first-round pick, so
Gotcha,
you
yep.
can't do first-round picks in that league. So Breece was going to be my keeper, but I was like, you know what? I can't pass this up. So
And I felt it was a pretty. I honestly felt it was a fair trade. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown dominate that Eagles offense. Not really seeing any other targets to any other wide receiver on that team.
and the running backs have been lackluster as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So the only really competition they have for anything is Dallas Goedert,
Mhm.
who is, like I said, I'm not really caring for Dallas Goedert in that offense. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith dominate the targets.
It's
on
going to
that
be
team.
1A, 1B. all year.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's
Instead
kind
of
of a
flip-flop.
it's very similar to a Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle situation where they're both plausible to go off either week.
Right.
So, and then, I think the running back trade was kind of fair too. Clyde Edwards-Helaire off to a good start. Breece Hall is coming into his own.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
starting,
the,
he's
the
starting to pick it up.
usability is about the same. They're not either one's dominant in the running game or in their offenses yet. And then you have two struggling top running backs. Leonard
Najee Harris,
Fournette's
Leonard
not
Fournette,
done much yet, and Najee Harris has been underwhelming as a first-round pick.
Right.
So I felt it was a fair trade for both teams.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're gonna go on to our starts, sits, and sleepers this week for fantasy for week 4. So my picks, I have a start. I have Trevor Lawrence versus Philadelphia. I have Tony Pollard versus Washington. I have Rashad Bateman versus Buffalo, and I have Zach Ertz at Carolina. What do you guys think of those starts?
I am going to disagree with you with Bateman against Buffalo.
Okay.
This is you have one receiver that's going to pop off, and you have one that's not. I feel like Rashad Bateman gets covered the whole time with Kyer Elam. That's just where I think it's going to happen. I feel like this could be a big game for Mark Andrews. This could be a big game for Devin Duvernay. But I think Rashad Bateman kind of gets slowed down here. So I wouldn't expect him to beat his projection this week. But other than that, I agree with those starts.
Okay.
I think it's hard to pass up on any of those starts right now. Especially Trevor Lawrence. He's, like I said, who looks like the hottest quarterback that's on a lot of free agency wires still. He's on a lot of waiver wires. I just picked him up in Stig's league, of course. And I have high hopes for him going forward. I mean, he's going to play a tough defense. This defense just made Carson Wentz look like a JV quarterback. So, I mean, we'll see. Bateman, I think Bateman and Lamar Jackson have kind of shown they like to throw the ball they kind of have that connection. Bateman had an off week last week against a depleted New England defense.
Right.
So, I mean, it's plausible. So I see why Nico would avoid that. And I think Zach Ertz is still a top tight end in the league.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
He's been a safety blanket for Kyler Murray. I think he slows it down once DeAndre Hopkins gets back on the field. But right now I could see all those.
Alrighty. My sits for this week, I'm going to go with Carson Wentz versus Dallas. I'm going to go Chase Edmonds versus Cincy. I'm going to go Brandon Cooks versus the LA Chargers. I'm going to go Irv Smith versus New Orleans. What do we think about that?
You sitting Edmonds after a 2-touchdown game?
Listen, so listen, those 2 touchdowns, if you take those 2 touchdowns away.
I'm just kidding.
I don't like Edmonds here.
The usage for either one of our running backs in Miami is pretty much non-existent right now.
He just doesn't like you said. I mean, you can speak on that more than I can, but there's just no usage for them. You can't bank on red zone snaps every single time, and that's where all of Edmonds' points came from last week. He had 6 carries
for 21 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I mean, Mostert outsnapped him and outcarried him. Obviously, he just got the goal line touches. I wouldn't touch either Miami running back right now until we show that we want to do it. We look more like a pass-heavy team currently.
Right.
They look like
else.
the Bills.
Look
like the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, it's a very pass-heavy offense. I think we feel more comfortable with the ball into his hands than we do running the ball in previous years. So.
Yeah. So I picked Wentz because Wentz had that off week last week. I kind of want to stay away from him. Brandon Cooks, as a whole, so far this season has been underwhelming. Just hasn't been able to get any chemistry.
No chemistry with Davis Mills, which is shocking because it felt like they were going to have that connection at the end of last year. They played really well together.
Yeah.
I think the Houston Texans move on from Cooks. I think that he's a prime target for a team that could use a wide receiver.
Yeah.
So, I agree with that. Wentz, I don't know. I think Wentz has been really good these first 2 games. Obviously, he struggled against the Eagles.
My God,
I'm not going MVP. But I don't know. Daniel Jones didn't play horrible against this Cowboys defense. I think if the Cowboys get the pressure they did on Daniel Jones, it's probably going to be a nightmare for him. He doesn't do well under pressure. You saw the fumbles last week when the Eagles sent pressure at him. So
if you're playing in a super flex league, now is the time to buy low on Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I definitely think that going forward, it's a tough stretch. You're playing 2 pretty good defenses. But I don't see him being horrible all year long. That offense is too explosive, too many weapons. I could see him bouncing back this week.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. And then, Irv Smith, just underwhelming.
Yeah, I don't care for Irv Smith. Like I said, that Vikings offense outside of the first game against Green Bay, which it really wasn't their offense, it was Justin Jefferson.
Right.
Has looked lackluster. Kevin O'Connell or whatever, hasn't shown me anything yet to make me think that offense is going to operate.
Gotcha. Sleepers this week. I have Jared Goff versus Seattle. I have Ramondre Stevenson versus Green Bay. A little bit of a shocker.
I like that.
I have Romeo Doubs versus New England. And I have Cameron Brate versus Kansas City. What do we think about that?
I like those. Goff is still going to be Goff, but that offense is way too volatile for you to, especially in Superflex. Like, he needs to be in your Superflex spot.
For sure.
Yeah.
Especially with no Swift.
Yep.
I don't see Jamal Williams. I mean, he dominated the carries last week. he could do that again, but I think they like to pass the ball. It just
I
depends.
disagree with you there. I think every time that Jamal Williams has had to step in for DeAndre Swift, he's been an RB1 play every
Yeah.
single time.
Okay.
So, keep an eye out for DeAndre Swift, and if Jamal Williams playing, I mean, I'm sure at this point we're in Wednesday. I'm sure he's claimed in every league that you're playing in right now.
Right.
If he somehow is still like sitting out there,
Oh, he's
pick him
definitely a
up.
person you have to pick up because they Campbell's even came out and said that the Swift injury might be more than a 1 week thing.
Could be through their bye.
Yeah.
I think that's what, week 7 or week 8.
Yeah, so I mean he's a guy that could win you a couple games.
If
in
you're
your
an
fantasy
0-3
leagues.
team looking to change your season around, do what you can to get Jamal Williams.
100%.
Yeah. So Ramondre Stevenson versus Green Bay. They might be without Mac Jones. I think they're going to have to rely on those
Yep.
two backs a lot. Romeo Doubs had a great game last week.
He's
one
starting
of
to come into his own.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers has overwhelming praise for him.
Yeah, I'm very, very high on Dobbs. I picked him up in the Stakes League once again, and I think, take this as you will, I do think he's the best wide receiver on that team. I don't care for Allen Lazard. I do not. I think Christian Watson, we don't know much about him yet. He's hurt now. He had the big drop week 1. I don't think Aaron Rodgers trusts him yet. It looks like Dobbs is his guy.
As of right now, yes.
So
Yeah,
how
it
do we
looks
say it? Is it Doubs, Dobbs, or Dubs?
I have no idea. I have
I'm gonna say Dobbs.
Dobes.
I don't know. I don't
How
know.
about Dabes?
Dabes?
I know, right? I have no idea. I've never heard an announcer say his name.
Yeah.
I've heard Dubs, but I also have heard Doobs and Dobbs and Dabs.
I
and
thought it was
Dobbs.
Dobbs. I thought it was Dobbs originally. I just don't know if what that U was doing in the last name. So
Yeah.
You
And
know,
then
Romeo Dobbs, if you're listening to us, please tell us how to
Please
pronounce
help
your
us.
last
Right, please send it in so we know what we're saying next time.
Yeah, and then my last one, I have Cameron Brate versus Kansas City. He showed out, not showed out, but he had a decent game against Green Bay last week. I think with the stakes of Sunday Night Football, if they have these injuries at receiver still going on, like I know Mike Evans is back from his suspension. Depends on who's out there. If Julio's out there, stay away from Brate. If Godwin somehow makes it out there, stay away from him.
Just
As
due
a-
to the lack of able bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brate
that's
becomes a startable option.
Yeah.
100%. There's just a lack of weapons there right now, which, going into the season, we thought Brady had all the weapons. Godwin, I can't see playing this week. They get Evans back off the suspension, but outside of that, we don't know about Julio or Godwin, and Russell Gage is not a reliable number 2 receiver. I could see Brady having a game.
Yeah. So
Against a pretty weak linebacker core at that,
that's
too.
what I'm saying.
Yep.
Kansas City's defense isn't that great.
Yeah,
So.
so
I could see, 10 points,
Yeah, say-
touchdown dependent guy.
a serviceable tight end spot if you're streaming, you need a tight end this week for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a rough year for tight ends. So.
Yes. It's been a rough couple of years.
Right.
If you don't have Travis Kelce, then you're
Or
in
Mark
the-
Andrews. It's like,
Yeah.
Pretty much the only
You're in
two
the shuffle.
reliable guys. Kyle Pitts fell to me in the 3rd round, and I thought I got the biggest steal of the draft, and it's been a bunch of blocking for Kyle Pitts through the first 3
Dude,
weeks.
I've been trying to sell Kittle.
Oh, yeah.
I was
just
never
played,
high on
didn't he?
Kittle
Yeah.
like this year.
I
Oh.
grabbed him because he sat to me in the 5th. I'm
Yeah,
like,
at
you
that
know
point
what?
you
might
have
as
to.
well grab him. But I was also able to get Gerald Everett, and I'm like, I'm happy with Gerald Everett as a
Yeah.
streamer.
And Gerald Everett is honestly pretty reliable, too. It seems like Justin Herbert really likes to throw to him.
Exactly.
So, I mean, when he was available, I have him in a league as a backup, and he's awesome. So.
Yeah. So in our Emerge Fantasy League, it was me and Nico this past week, and me and Nico actually beat me pretty good, I think by 40 points.
Yeah, I was shocked. My team definitely overperformed. I'm not gonna expect this every week, but it was a good win, and you know what? It doesn't matter because it all goes into the pool of Big Yak Podcast.
Yeah, we both, we won either way. So
Take a look at that trophy. That will be
that
ours.
gander. So
Moranto, what say you?
Well, it won't be me. I'm 0-3 and one league, and I'm 3-0 in the random league I joined on the app, and I'm in the only 3-0 in that league, and I'm up against this week the guy who's worst.
Oh,
in that league. So I'm like, I gotta go 4-0, and then I'm like, okay. But in our league, I'm projected to come in last, and I'm up against Tank this week, so I think I'm screwed. So, but Zach beat me, which was the only team I wanted to beat. So
Next
So-
to Kin podcast is definitely the fluke team so far this year. They're gonna come back and they're gonna turn things around.
You know,
It's a fluke that they're.
My
0-3.
biggest problem is I benched 2 weeks in a row. I benched someone I probably shouldn't have. Not that it would have made, when I looked at the point totals, it wouldn't have made a difference.
That's rookie head coach mistakes.
Yeah, but even with those guys, if it would have been the other way around, I still wouldn't have won. But
just reassess your bench and take a look at the team. Give them
sometimes
a pep talk
I play with my heart when I should be playing with who I think is going to do better.
Yeah.
Like I'm up against Tank this week, so I want my indie guys in there because I want the indie guys to do well, just to piss Tank off because he's got to root against his own guys when I'm up against them.
Right.
But you can't pick your team that way.
Right.
No, yeah, it's in fantasy's tough in that aspect, man. It's hard, especially in the smaller leagues when you have so many good players, and it's hard to operate a bench. You don't know. You got to really be smart with your starts and your benches, and that kind of stuff loses you leagues. I mean, I lost to Chris Sharp this week in Stig's league. Not my proudest day.
I lost him week 1, so I mean,
his team I think kind of overperformed. My team underperformed in certain aspects, but it's not looking good for Damian. 1 and 2, and I got a tough matchup this week.
I'm right there with you.
I'm 1 and 2. I think we're all 1 and 2 actually in the Stigs league. But I got my first win. I beat Jules Houston. Battle of Yorktown, that's his name. I finally won something because he doesn't let me win things. So, but yeah, I beat Jules, put up second most points, almost had the most points. But Skyler came out of nowhere, scored 170.
I think what did he have? Barkley and CD Lamb on Monday?
Yeah, Barkley and CD Lamb decided to have games.
They both had great games too, man.
So
it's still early in the season. You can
I'm
get
up
a high
against
score.
Dre.
Oh,
that's the last team.
That's a beatable team.
Yeah.
Imposter though. He's like, yeah, no, we don't trade. I don't trade with you. League of 1,000 Trades is his team name, and then he goes off and trades his whole team. Yeah, 4-player trade. Are you kidding me?
His trades, I liked it better when Dre didn't trade because his trades are dog shit. Sorry, I don't want to swear on the podcast.
You're good.
Nah, see that's worth that was encouraged for that.
Yeah, because I mean,
emphasis.
This guy has said for years that he doesn't trade, he doesn't do this or that, and he goes out and he trades.
He stick to not trading.
He traded with Skyler the first couple weeks, and he gave up all this stuff for Gabe Davis, who has only had the 1 game so far. And then you go out and you do this big trade with Austin. I haven't been a fan of his trades.
His starting receivers are Brandon Ayuk and Gabe Davis coming into this week.
Oh.
His starting running backs are Austin Eckler and Zeke.
Yeah, it's just we don't care for that. He overvalued a lot of those wide receivers. And
he does have Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Michael Thomas might not play though.
If
he
plays, he's got Curtis Samuel, so that was a good waiver wire pickup.
Yeah, that was a great pickup. So I mean, it seems almost kind of like Dre's a Bills fan a little bit, man. I'm not sure. He's Gabe Davis.
He's got Isaiah McKenzie on his bench.
He just traded away Dawson Knox, so I mean, it's an interesting team build for sure.
Dre, if you're watching,
watch out,
we're not
Dre.
fans.
Yes. I think that's all I have for you guys today. What's going on in the life of Damien?
Nothing much, man.
What's next for you, big man?
Yeah, what's next for you?
Just been working, bartender over at Anchor Bar. Of course, as you guys know, we've been going there for years for fantasy and trying to get out of there, trying to move on to something bigger. I'm kind of ready. I've been looking in Buffalo, some different bartending jobs, stuff like that.
Good
but
for you.
Yeah, just been enjoying life, man. It's kind of getting to that point. It's a slow season, so it's like the perfect time to start looking forward for new employments and new opportunities.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for you and your Miami Dolphins fandom. I just knew I had to get you on this week because I told people, I was like, they're asking, oh, who's your guest this week? I'm like, oh, it's my friend Damien. He's a Dolphins fan. They're looking at me like, are you serious? I'm like, because here's the thing.
We let the Dolphins fans speak.
Yeah.
We're not Buffalo dominant.
We're not a Buffalo dominant podcast. I know we're both Bills fans, but the Big Yak is a football podcast, not a Bills podcast.
Although I will say,
yeah,
coming soon, we have a special Buffalo-themed merch line that's coming out. It's a merch line of one item, but we're not gonna reveal it just yet.
Oh, yeah, you gotta
surprises.
For those of you that are still listening to the podcast, which I don't think we have any viewers right now, thank you for tuning in all this time, and you are now the first listener to hear that we are having a secret shirt come soon.
Nice.
So if you're listening at this point of the podcast, we're having.
We're not a Buffalo Bills podcast.
Yeah. And I respect that you guys are very open-minded with who you keep on here. Pretty much everybody you've had on here so far, outside of the few, have been different fans of different teams. Yeah. I think you need that at the end of the day. You need different opinions. You can't have just Bills fans or just.
It would become a Bills podcast eventually.
And you got to keep it. You got to keep it open, keep it fresh. And I commend you guys for that. It's been awesome being on. I'm glad that you guys had me on. I know last week I was thinking about being on. I didn't want to be on before the Dolphins and Bills. Had to see the outcome, see what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So but I'm glad you guys had me on. It's been fun.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, Rodney Jones, you got the giveaway, so we'll be in touch with you. And thank you guys for. I know, man. I know.
They're gonna reach out to you via email. Man.
Yeah, we're gonna reach out to you via email, and anyways, yeah, thank you everybody who's bought merch so far. I've gotten a lot of Snapchats, a lot of pictures of merch so far. Everybody has gotten.
Yes, people keep sending me stuff. It's so cool to see.
It's
so
seeing you guys
cool.
post that kind of stuff.
It's
man.
so cool.
The love that you guys get, especially in the local area and stuff like that, has been awesome to see. So
yeah,
hope it keeps growing.
Yeah, so everybody, let's keep this good thing going. And this was episode 14 of the Big Yak Podcast.
14 down.
Yeah, 14 down. Thank you, Mr. Maranto and Emerge. Thank you, Matt Johnson, BICBP Network. Thank you, Nico. Thank you, Damien. And we'll see you guys next week for episode 15.